Hey guys, so I've been trying to do this video now for a little while. It's going to be like a sort of an energy forecast for 2025, but there was like a delay. Things weren't quite ready, and now they are. So obviously, I just want to throw a disclaimer out for this video. So this is an energy reading from what I have received through visuals, downloads, meditation, and obviously it's a very widespread collective energy. So this isn't to instill any fear. It's not to say that this is exactly what's going to happen. There could be things that I say that might show up in different ways. So try to obviously just take it all with a grain of salt. But obviously, this is just a bit of an overview of what we can experience for 2025. So the first visual I got for this year overall, we're going to start with the overall sort of visual, and then I'm going to maybe break it down into a few select situations. So the visual I got initially and is a chess game. So if you know chess, it can be a very strategic game if you play it correctly. And what I feel like, especially since sort of post-COVID, so like 2021, it's almost like people have been playing chess like for fun, if you can kind of grasp that. So people have been playing and moving around and moving across the board, and this includes people like moving overseas, changing locations, changing jobs, working remotely. Like there's been a lot of movement. This year, however, we're going to see a lot of movement in a more strategic manner. So people, I feel like, are starting to now move with more intention, more purpose, and really looking at that overall success for themselves. So we've been kind of playing chess for fun, but this year it's like, okay, now I'm playing to win. Again, it's a play on words. It's not so much about like winning, but it's just being more strategic with your movement so you can kind of get to the end of the game. Now, based on the numerology of the year, we're in a 9 year. So 9 is all about completion, ending cycles, kind of wrapping things up is what I want to say. Like I'm seeing that visual of wrapping things up. So this year is going to bring in a lot of energy of kind of tying up loose ends on what's not working. This is obviously going to be for you personally, but also on a collective scale. Now, with that as well, I see a mass awakening this year. Obviously, already in 2025, we've seen quite a lot of world events that's making a lot of people go, hang on a second, like, what's going on here? And this is a good thing. But naturally, with any mass awakening, we get a lot of anger, we get a lot of frustration, we get a lot of kind of chaotic energy. So with that, we are being reminded to really kind of stick to our lanes this year. This isn't a year to get distracted and pulled kind of back into that. Now, my belief is that if you are watching this video and you are kind of relating to the more like spiritual side of life, you've probably gone through an awakening already, maybe numerous awakenings, but there is obviously people who still haven't quite hit that mark. And this isn't about being better than, it's just what it is. Some people just take a little bit longer to go through that awakening experience. And that's why those of us who have kind of gone through that usually are the light that kind of brings them up. So it's a very powerful thing. But with this, it is saying that when people start to wake up, like if you can remember back to your first sort of awakening experience, it was a little chaotic because you started seeing things differently. You started questioning everything. You started looking at things like, why am I doing this? What's going on? And you started sort of becoming more in tune with yourself and what you want. So when that happens, people feel angry. They feel betrayed. They feel cheated. They feel lied to. Especially on a collective level, I do feel like this is going to come about with a lot of political stuff. So naturally, that is going to bring up some carnage. So collectively, the energy is going to feel a little chaotic and angry as this commences. It has kind of started, but it is going to progress a little bit. But I feel like by year's end, it's going to settle down. Now, again, this isn't to be afraid. This is just saying, like, this is potentially energy you're going to feel. And if it's not for you personally in your life, it's mindful to remember that sometimes you are going to pick up on external energy. So clearing and monitoring your energy this year is going to be paramount. Using any tools you find that help keep you grounded, help keep you focused, help keep you just kind of connected to yourself, your soul, your intuition, is going to be really favorable for you. Now, basically, I have pulled some cards here, but there was also a few select dates. So going to the cards really quickly, one of the biggest things we're going to see again is kind of packing up and walking away from old structures of making money in particular. I feel like this year a lot of people are going to start finding alternatives to how they're making their finances work for them. So this could look like starting a business. This could look like moving into like a technology-based automated business. This could look like remote work. This could just look like going into a different kind of job arena that brings you a bit more fulfillment in the way you make money. Okay, so it's going to sort of see how we're kind of, I want to say, surviving and really looking at what's not working in that aspect. So that's going to be like a big thing. We're going to see a lot of people really start branching out and looking at options this year. So if that feels like something that's coming in for you, it's definitely worth like exploring what you can do. Because I feel like for a lot of us, this is going to be a very foundational year as well, where we start maybe studying, learning off YouTube, using like our skills that we already have over the course of our life so far, and seeing where we can maybe implement that to make money. And it's going to be a year of kind of, exploring, being curious, and like setting up a foundation for the next sort of chapter. Because again, going back to that 9, it's like an ending. So next year we're going to go into a fresh new energy where like it's that new kind of beginning energy. So this year is really going to be looking up at wrapping things that aren't working, especially around finances and the way we're living. So it is going to be a year of perspective change as well. Like, again, looking at where we're stuck or where we feel stuck, and looking at ways we can change that narrative as well. And just looking at overall and ways we can bring more balance and like love and just joy into our lives. And this is going to come with some decisions. This is going to come with some really tough decisions for some of us. That is going to be personal. Like, it's not even letting me kind of give an example, because it's just going to be so different. For some people, I am hearing the word tower. So I feel like for some of you, it's going to be big tower moments. Again, this isn't to scare anyone. Tower moments are just pushing for change. It doesn't have to be detrimental. It's just change. That's what a tower is. Like when it comes to the tower crumbles so that you can rebuild from a fresh foundation. But that's sort of the overall view of like the collective energy. And obviously, depending where you are in your life, what's going on, like this is all going to come up in different shapes and forms. So not everyone is kind of going to be on that same path, but in a way it's all going to come together in the right way for you. So again, taking hold of yourself, your intuition, going within, staying grounded is all going to be super, super powerful. Now, obviously, if you are connected to sort of the world at large, there is a big, I want to say, battle going on right now with countries. Again, the politics versus the people, things like that. This isn't one of my favorite topics to talk about. Everyone has their own opinions on this, so I'm not going into it. But again, a lot of people are going to sort of see where maybe they can start to become more self-sufficient, which is actually really powerful. Pluto in Aquarius brings a very like revolutionary energy, and this is something we are all going to embrace whether we like it or not right now. Again, it's not to say that we have to go and like do anything crazy, but the more you can start to shape and mold your own reality, that's naturally going to have a ripple effect across the collective. So don't think anything you do or don't do is not going to be worthy for yourself and first and foremost, but just remember that like that does have a ripple effect, because people see what you're doing, friends and family see what you're doing, and even if they maybe not be on board, like eventually that energy is going to kind of carry through and people are going to start picking it up. So again, really honing in, staying with self this year is like the best advice Spirit is giving right now. Now, something else that came through while I was like meditating on this is I heard the word like shock, and I heard the month of April. So I feel like something will occur in April that is going to be a bit of a like a plot twist on things, something that we don't see coming. Now, this doesn't necessarily feel like, I almost want to say dangerous. It doesn't feel like bad. It just feels like, whoa, didn't see that coming. So again, I'm not getting exactly a clear view on what it is, or what it's connected to, what it's related to, but I feel like around April something's going to happen and we're all kind of going to be like, wow, like didn't see that coming. And potentially that's going to make us shift gears a little bit. But again, it doesn't, like what I'm being told right now is it's nothing to worry about. Like it's just going to kind of be like, oh, just like when you like, yeah, just, you know, when you get a shock about something, you're like, oh my God. Like say you're chatting with your friends and someone's like, yeah, you know, me and Brad are getting divorced. And you'd be like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Like it's just a shock. Like it's just a shock. So yeah, again, don't be afraid of it. It's just something in April is going to kind of happen and everyone's kind of going to be like, whoa, okay. Like, cool. Didn't see that coming. And I feel like because it is that kind of sudden energy, that is also why I'm not getting anything deeper on that, and what it's connected to. So just like, again, don't hang on to it, but just, you know, if something happens in April, just be like, oh, okay. And a really big one that's come in for me a lot as well is I keep hearing the word cell phone and the month of June. So I feel like in June, we're going to get something big around cell phones. Now, again, my initial feeling of this was almost like a system shutdown. Like whether a cell tower craps itself or something like that. Like it's almost like something happens with our digital technology in June. This could also just be like a new technology completely in relation to cell phones. Like again, I'm not getting 100% clarity on what it is, but I just heard cell phones in June. But my initial feeling is kind of like something big is happening with cell phones in and around June. So be mindful of that. Again, could just be a new release of some technology. It could be cell phone shutting down for a short period of time. Like the internet goes belly up. I don't know, but something is going to kind of occur in that respect. So maybe just back up your things. Yeah, again, it doesn't feel like it's going to be anything too crazy, but it will be significant enough to make a statement. So yeah, keep an eye out. And then finally, this one was a big one. And I really had to dive deep on this before sharing it, just because, again, like I'm not here to instill any fear. I'm not here to make people like hesitate or doubt or question what they should be doing. But I heard the word explosion, and my first thought was like, what is going to explode? What I got from that was a feeling of peace, in a sense that it's not going to be anything that's going to shake the world too crazily. I did get the month of September for this, and I feel like this is just going to be one of those potential natural disasters. So we could be looking at like a volcano, we could be looking at a factory like blowing up or something like that. And I know it sounds crazy, like it sounds bad, it sounds like something we should be worried about, but I don't feel like it's going to be happening in a space that's like, again, I don't feel like it's going to be detrimental. I just feel like it's like going to be a shift in the earth energy, and like a volcano is going to erupt somewhere or something like that. The other kind of feeling I got with this is it's like a metaphorical explosion. So again, something in relation to the way we're living, like the economy, something like that, like might metaphorically explode in a way, shape, or form. So again, I'm not sure how that's going to present itself, if at all. Like I said, this is just what I've channeled, so it's not even 100% like guaranteed thing. But that is sort of something that could potentially happen this year. So that's kind of my overview that I've sat with and got. I did do a channeled reading this week, and the energy right now is a very go energy. Like a lot of you might be feeling a little bit impatient, but also have this gusto to like go forth and create the life you want. And that is very much the undertow like energy for the year for you as an individual. Like I said, the external collective is going to do things on its own terms, but if you can use that undertow of your soul to like follow that journey, that really shouldn't bother you at all. So again, it's a very like stay in your lane, stay focused kind of vibe. Don't get swayed, don't get pulled, don't get caught up in what's not yours, so to speak. The underlying energy of the deck when I pulled a few cards was the Hermit. So again, it's saying go within to that light, because that's what's going to get you through any turbulence is the word they're giving me here, because it's going to be there. There's no way around not seeing turbulence this year, especially with this mass awakening. Like I said, people are tired, people are fed up, people are pissed off. And that in itself could also be relevant to that explosion, where people just literally like explode on their own terms because they're fed up with the system or whatever it is. So for 2025, it is really about looking at ways you can become more self-sufficient, living a life more aligned to your soul and what you feel is a way you want to be living, and kind of breaking down those walls and barriers of what we have been fed from our parents, our grandparents, society, political, all that stuff. So many of us are looking at that now and just being like, I can appreciate it, but it doesn't work for me. And this is where this rise is going to occur. So it is going to be a very mixed energy this year. There's going to be lots of highs and lows. I'm just seeing waves as I'm saying this. But if you can really stay connected to you, you will ride that very smoothly. I'm not saying you won't have bad days. We all do as our human selves. But on a spiritual level, like soul is really pushing to lead the way for you this year. So if you like suddenly get this idea and be like, I want to be a photographer, like don't ignore those nudges. Like this is soul really starting to get creative with ways you can live, the lifestyle you're choosing, ways you're making money, ways you can be sufficient, maybe without relying so heavily on everything outside of us. So it's exciting. Like, to be honest, I'm getting a really excited vibe from this. Again, it's not going to be without its turbulence, but change really is. But ultimately, like, this is going to be a great year for you if you can stay in your lane and stay with yourself, because soul is really leading the way this year. And ego is having a hissy fit about it, because it's like, well, what about like the fact we have to work 40 hours and we have to make this much money and we have to have that nice car and this and that and live here because it's where our family is, and you know, because I'm this age I should be married with children, and like all this stuff. We're just being like, whoa. And not to say like that isn't still possibility if that's what you want to do. Like, you are in control of your life at the end of the day. But yeah, if things aren't really standing out as something you want to do, go with what you feel is right for you, because that's going to lead you to that like outcome of happily ever after, whatever that looks like for you. So that is my take and overview on 2025. I would love to hear like in the comments just how you're feeling so far, if you're feeling good, if you're feeling nervous, if you're feeling excited. Personally, I feel super excited. I feel like this year is going to bring a lot of change for you as an individual if you want to line up with that in a good way. But again, it's sticking the path and not being swayed. That is going to be the ultimate challenge this year. So if you can do that, it should be pretty easy breezy. But yeah, I'm excited. So let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if you're feeling any of these vibes, how you're feeling so far in 2025. If you have any goals, like, yeah, share away, let us know. But yeah, thanks for jumping on, and yeah, have a wonderful 2025 because it's going to be good.